Good morning, everybody. I am so excited to kick off this morning's content for you. So without further ado, thank you for joining me for this masterclass on short-form video. Before we get into it, I did just want to take a couple of minutes to introduce myself. So as Rachel said, my name is Alice Goode. I am part of the marketing team at CrowdRiff. So anybody who isn't familiar with CrowdRiff, we help travel and tourism brands access the best visual content for their marketing. So if it's user-generated content or short-form video, we can help you with that. We are based in Toronto, in Canada, but we work with actually 950 travel and tourism brands worldwide. So I don't know if you can guess from my accent, but I'm not from Toronto, Canada. I'm originally from Ireland. I was actually in the elevator yesterday with my colleague, and some lady asked me what language I was speaking. I had to tell her that I was speaking English, but I was speaking English with an Irish accent. So it was a good reminder that sometimes I do just need to slow down and enunciate. So I will try my best for you all today. Okay, so here is a quick recap of what we are going to cover and hopefully what we are all going to learn today. So we will start off with discussing how short-form content, so short-form video in general, and destination marketing go hand in hand. We'll then touch on what short-form video platforms you as destination marketers should be posting on. We'll also cover how often to post on these platforms, because it does differ a little bit. Then I'll touch a little bit on YouTube Shorts. What are they, and should you be making them? Then we will cover whether it's okay to repurpose content and best practices for doing so, and then just some best practices for creating short-form video in general. And then, as Rachel said, I will hand over to our wonderful panel, who will be going through some examples of short-form video that they have created. Okay, so let's get started then. So short-form video. Why does short-form video go hand in hand with destination marketing? So I'm hoping this video will play. Perfect. Okay, there we go. So before I get too carried away, what exactly is short-form video? So as the name would suggest, it is video that is short. There is no defined, time of short-form video, but I would say, anywhere preferably under 60 seconds. For me, shorter is better, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But I guess short-form video can be defined as video content that I said is short, but with a fast rhythm and a clear, concise style. So it really is designed to hook your attention within the first couple of seconds and make you want to keep watching until the very end. So it's just a really fun and fast way to consume information. So, what is there not to love? But why has short-form video in general just absolutely exploded in popularity recently? So to understand this, we need to address how consumers in general, not just travelers, but consumers in general, how we consume information has changed. So I have two search experiences on the screen for you here. On the right, you will see the Google desktop experience. So this is the user experience that you will see if you search on Google using your computer or your laptop. You will see that the information is displayed to you in a, kind of a boring way, if you ask me. It's a lot of text. There is a long list of blue links, and there's a lot of reading to do here. So, unbeknownst to yourself, this is actually quite a high cognitive load. So what I mean by that is it actually takes quite a lot of energy and brain power to scan and read through this information to see if it's the information that you're looking for. Whereas on the left, I have done the exact same search term. So both search terms are US travel inspiration. So I've done the exact same search term, this time in TikTok, and that's the experience that you'll see on the left. Now, I've just used TikTok as an example here, but you would get a very similar experience if you were to search on other short-form video platforms like Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. But as you can see, the results or the information is presented in a much more engaging and visual way. So as the user starts to scroll, you will see that the videos start to autoplay. It gives you a sense of what that video is about, so you can see if it's the information you're looking for. It really draws you in and makes you want to find out more. Let's face it, attention spans have never been shorter. They're only getting shorter. In fact, so travelers increasingly want to have their information presented to them in these bite-sized, easily digestible nuggets, and short-form video satisfies this. But why is short-form video so popular or so suited to destination marketing in particular? So why this is the definition of authenticity has evolved. So the standard of content that travelers are not only craving but expecting is ever evolving. So, you know, destination marketing, there once was a time, I guess, when everyone was focused on photo shoots and getting models, actors, whoever it may be, and all of the pictures, now, they were amazing, they looked beautiful, they were picture perfect, but they mightn't have been the most realistic. And travelers crave authenticity. They want to see content from people who have been there, who have actually done it, and what it's really like. So this is where user-generated content came in. So user-generated content, or UGC, as the name would suggest, is content that is created from people who are actually in that destination. So be it people who have actually visited or people who live there. So this content is, as I said, more authentic, more genuine, just more realistic. And UGC is still quite important. Like, images aren't going anywhere. That is something that I want to stress. But short-form video can complement user-generated content really well. And that is because short-form video offers travelers a multi-sensory and immersive experience to help them imagine what visiting your destination is really like. So when you think of an image, now, as I said, images are great, but you really are confined within the dimensions of that image, right? You need to fit everything in that little square, rectangle, whatever. Whereas with a video, you can get, and I have some examples here, but you can get that 360 shot to kind of really provide that immersive and engaging experience and show the traveler or show the viewer kind of all the different aspects that make that attraction or that business or whatever it may be great. With video too, you have the element of sound. So that adds to that multi-sensory experience. And again, it just provides a more immersive and engaging experience. So whether it's, you know, the hustle and bustle of your downtown or, you know, the sounds of waves or even just the crackle of a campfire, sometimes video just does a better job of capturing the personality of your destination. Okay then, so short form video is absolutely everywhere. There really is no avoiding it. We're seeing it crop up on basically every digital marketing platform. But I did want to focus on, you know, 3 platforms in particular that I feel destination marketers should be considering as part of their marketing strategy. So drum roll, but I don't think it'll be a big surprise to anybody. Today we're going to be talking about TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. So in December, December 2022, so only a couple of months ago, CrowdRiff did an analysis of our 950 destination marketers' social media channels to understand what social media platforms they were posting on and what the engagement on those channels was like. And here are some of the findings that we came up with. So first of all, with TikTok, we found that 42% of CrowdRiff users had a TikTok account. So, you know, I feel like this is quite, you know, significant, quite impressive, given that TikTok is still relatively new, and given also that TikTok has actually been banned in quite a number of US states. So I will kind of address that in a little bit. However, when we look at the frequency, like the daily posting frequency on TikTok, it is really quite low. It is only 6%. So only 6% of destinations are posting on TikTok daily. Now, this could be due to quite a number of things, but TikTok is still new. We are all still figuring it out. So there's a lot of experimentation, and, you know, TikTok is a primarily video-based platform as well, so creating this kind of content at scale also takes time. So it is hard to, I guess, get to that daily posting frequency. However, when we look at who is posting at least once a week, that jumps up to over 1/3. So people are using it. The adoption is definitely there. Then when we look at Instagram Reels or Instagram in general, unsurprisingly, the adoption is, you know, just much more plentiful here. We're seeing 91% of our destination users are active on Instagram. So, you know, there's no huge surprise here. Instagram has been around, I think it's been around since 2010, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it has just been around longer, and destinations just have had more time to adopt and get used to it and post more frequently. Around 50% are posting daily, which I found was quite interesting. Now, one thing to bear in mind is this is a combination of Instagram stories, feed posts, and Instagram Reels. So there's just more channels, there's just more different ways to post on Instagram, so that probably contributes to the higher posting rate there on a daily basis. And when we look at who is posting less than once a week, it's only 16%, so that is quite a small percentage. Then when we look at YouTube, I was a little bit surprised by this, but a huge adoption rate on YouTube. 83% have a YouTube presence, but when we look at who's actually using it, only 6.5% are posting more than once a week. So my theory for this high adoption rate but low usage is that I imagine many destinations have a YouTube presence to host longer form video that they may have created. Either, you may have worked with a videographer in the past, you may have created a trailer. Those kind of longer form YouTube videos are hosted on your YouTube channel, or even if you've embedded videos on your website, they can be hosted on YouTube from there. When we look at YouTube Shorts, now I'll go into YouTube Shorts in more detail in just a few moments, but YouTube Shorts is actually YouTube's new channel for short form video content. It is still relatively new, but the uptake has been quite good. So 33% are active on YouTube Shorts. So it might just be interesting to kind of see how you kind of level up or benchmark against what we are seeing kind of at an industry level. And then one more interesting point here that I wanted to talk about is the algorithm evolution. Now this sounds really complicated and fancy. It's not, I promise. But I did want to take some time to explain this because it does really hammer home the point, I guess, about the opportunity that short form video can present to destination marketers. So previously on Instagram championed what we like to call a friend-based algorithm. So just as a reminder, the algorithm is like the formula that the platform uses to surface content to you. So the friend-based algorithm meant that you were only shown content on Instagram from accounts that you were either friends with or that you followed. So as a destination marketer, travelers weren't seeing your content unless they followed you or unless they were friends with your account. So one of your probably key results was to increase your follower base so that more people could see your content. So to increase your follower base, you may have been creating content that you thought appealed to the masses. So that was the friend-based algorithm. Now we're seeing a new algorithm which started on TikTok, but we're now seeing it more and more on Instagram, and it's called the interest-based algorithm. So on TikTok, instead of a feed, you have what they call a For You page. So the For You page is often abbreviated to your FYP. So if you're hearing people talk about FYP, it's basically just the feed on TikTok. But TikTok started this thing called the interest-based algorithm. And basically, it surfaces content to you that it thinks you will like. So based on your activities, based on your behaviors on their platform, the algorithm, it's kind of scary. It gets to know you really well, really quickly, and surfaces content to you that it thinks you will like. So what this means for destination marketers is that travelers can now see your content even if they haven't followed your page. So this is a great opportunity to get your content in front of new eyes, fresh faces, and maybe travelers who mightn't be as familiar with your brand. So as I said, this has started on TikTok, but we're now seeing it more and more on Instagram. I don't know if you've noticed, but as you're kind of scrolling through Instagram, you'll get like suggested videos we think you might like, that kind of thing. So we're seeing it more and more. So it just means that you can actually create the content that you want to, not that you think will appeal to most people. Alrighty, okay, so let's jump into each of these three platforms in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to start with TikTok. So here are some stats on the impact that TikTok has had and has had on the travel industry, I guess. So there is over 100 billion, I don't know when I made this slide, but I can imagine this is quite a lot higher now, 100 billion views on the hashtag travel. So there is not only a lot of content, a lot of travel content on TikTok, but people are actively watching and engaging with it. I don't think I need to stand here and talk about the popularity of TikTok, but it is actually the platform where US adults, the social media platform that US adults spend the most time on at 46 minutes per day. I don't know about you, I'm definitely over that 46 minutes. Yeah, I don't want to check my screen time, but it's definitely over. And actually 32% of users are aged between 25 and 34. So a quarter of users. I think there is this misconception that, some folks might think TikTok is just for younger Gen Zs, but we're actually seeing the age spread out quite a bit more across, different age groups. But why is TikTok so special? And what kind of really makes it stand out as a short form video platform? So what I like to say is TikTok is almost like taking a trip before going on the trip. So TikTok really has become this huge repertoire of travel inspiration and information for travelers. So TikTok is an intimate, accessible, and inspirational window through which travelers take a trip before deciding if it's worth it. So what I mean by that is TikTok has made it really, really accessible to create travel content. So, I'll go into it in a little bit more detail, but TikToks are a lot more informal. They're a lot looser, less polished, and it just means that really anybody can create a TikTok, and really anybody has started creating TikToks. So for whatever aspect you're curious about a trip that you're planning, you can find a TikTok for that, I would imagine. So by consuming all of this content, you can nearly almost take this virtual trip before going there, and it really gives you a sense of what taking a trip to that destination might be like. Now, I did touch on this, but we can't really talk about TikTok without addressing the elephant in the room, which is that TikTok has actually been banned in quite a few US states at the government level. So I know the screenshot up here says 20. When I last looked, I think it's almost up at 32. So there is quite a good article actually on the CrowdRiff website that goes through the kind of TikTok ban in more detail. So if you are curious about that, I would invite you to read that, but I'll just give a super quick synopsis of it here now. Basically, there are some security and privacy concerns around TikTok, which has led to some US states banning TikTok from being on your corporate devices, basically. So what I would say to you is that if you are concerned or if you have been impacted by this ban, to really weigh up, I guess, the restrictions against the potential marketing benefit. Because even if it is banned at the government level, it hasn't yet been banned at the consumer level or the traveler level. So travelers are still on TikTok. They're still consuming this content, whether you're creating it or not. So this might mean, I don't know, maybe potentially getting creative and continuing to post TikToks on your personal devices, maybe, but travelers are still on these platforms regardless. And in fact, 39% of US travelers currently believe that TikTok will become America's most popular social media channel. So, the popularity and the demand for this content really isn't going anywhere for now anyway. And also, to add to this, if you are, not totally feeling TikTok or not wanting to kind of create them for your destination or at that kind of corporate level, what I would say and some advice that I would give is it still is extremely valuable as a marketer to have a personal TikTok account so that you can keep an eye on the kind of content that's being created by others about your destination. So, be it locals, be it content creators, be it influencers, this content is still being created, and the narrative is still being formed about your destination. So keeping on top of that as a marketer is really useful because, as it says here, it really helps you see or view your destination through the eyes of your audience. So if you're watching TikToks or any kind of short form video, I guess, from folks in your destination, you're seeing how they're perceiving your destination. You're seeing how they're getting there, where they're staying, where they're going, what they're eating, what they're thinking. And you might even uncover some unhidden gems about your destination that you didn't know about. So even if you're not creating TikToks, I would say that it is definitely beneficial as a marketer to be on TikTok and keep an eye on kind of what's going on. And then last but not least, on TikTok, not only are they getting views, but the engagement rates on TikToks are extremely high. So in fact, 6 times higher. So the engagement rate of TikTok videos are 6 times higher than that of Reels. So what I mean by that is kind of like likes and comments. One of my favorite things to do on TikTok, I'll watch the video for sure, but then I'll actually just spend some time just scrolling through the comments because people are usually quite funny, or they're actually quite helpful as well. People will link other videos in the comments of your video that they think that viewers might find helpful too. So engagement rate on TikToks is quite a bit higher than Reels. Okay, so speaking of Reels, let's talk a little bit more about Instagram Reels. So this isn't a newsflash, but Instagram is no longer just a photo sharing app. So I don't know if any of you will remember, but this absolutely iconic video from the head of Instagram, so Adam Mosseri. I think he came on sometime last year to give this announcement to say that Instagram is no longer just a photo sharing app. Basically, he said, we're going to continue to support photos. That said, I need to be honest. I do believe that more and more of Instagram is going to become video over time. Now, this video was met by quite a bit of backlash from users and celebrities like Kylie Jenner alike. People really didn't want Instagram to change. They wanted it to stick to its roots of being a photo sharing app. But to be honest, I think I have to agree with Instagram's approach on this. If they want to stay relevant and if they want to compete, I guess, with the likes of TikTok, video is the way forward. So they haven't backtracked on this. They are pushing forward, and Instagram Reels is the channel that they are investing quite a bit in to do this. So Instagram Reels is Instagram's fastest growing channel. So 20% of time spent by users on Instagram is actually on Reels. So as a relatively new format, it is performing quite well, and Instagram is really very excited about this, and they have been investing quite a bit in some new updates, which I'll go through now. So these are the latest updates for Instagram Reels, which might be useful to know if you're looking to create more Reels or kind of streamline the way that you create your Instagram Reels. So first of all, there are new templates available. So what this means is you can actually borrow the structure or the format of other Instagram Reels. So everything from like the transitions and the music, you can borrow that format, and all you have to do is kind of swap in your own content. So it's an easier and quicker way if you want to increase or just find a better way, I guess, to start creating your Reels. The time limit on Instagram Reels has been recently increased to 90 seconds. I can't remember what it was before, but it's now at 90 seconds. So this gives you more time to tell the story that you want to tell or communicate the message that you want to tell. Now, one thing on this, just because Reels can be 90 seconds doesn't mean that they have to be or should be. You know, that is just there as a guideline. As I said, my personal opinion, I think shorter videos are better. You know, that's why it is short form video. It's, you know, quick, easy to digest. But the option is there if you had a, you know, longer piece of content that you did want to showcase. They have also introduced sound effects and audio import. So the sound effects are a little silly. They're like a foghorn, like applause. I think there's some animal sounds in there, but they're fun. You know, they can add another dimension or just add like a little bit more drama or just, yeah, as I said, a little bit more fun to your content. And then they've also introduced stickers. So these are the stickers that we all know and love from Instagram stories. So you'll see in the example there of the guy, and he has fit 1, fit 2, and people vote on which they prefer. These interactive elements are now available on your Instagram Reels. So it's another way to make your content more engaging, more interactive, and keep people watching, I guess, until the very end. Okay, so TikTok and Instagram, they can seem very similar, and they are, don't get me wrong, but there are some differences that should be kept in mind when you are kind of considering or thinking about what content to post on each. So first of all, TikToks can be long. TikToks can actually be up to 10 minutes long. Personally, I rarely watch these. I actually read an article last week that said that 50% of TikTok users found it a stressful experience when their TikTok was longer than 60 seconds. So it's a little bit dramatic, I know, but definitely something to keep in mind. Whereas I said Instagram Reels, you have that 90-minute time limit, so they're just a little bit shorter and sweeter. So with Instagram Reels, you just really need to be a little bit more concise. Think about the message you're trying to convey and convey that within the first few seconds, because you do need a kind of a catchy hook, I guess. TikTok has more niche audiences. So one of the things that has contributed to TikTok's success has been the establishment, I guess, of these almost micro communities on TikTok, which has led to really high engagement. So on TikTok, you don't just have, you know, the hashtag travel. You will have a level beneath that. So you could have, you know, cheap travel or family travel or solo female traveler, and you can create content that is really specific and targeted to like a very specific persona that you are trying to target. Whereas we're seeing on Instagram Reels, the audience is just a little bit more general still. TikTok is more trendy. I would say like 99% of the short form video trends that we're seeing start on TikTok. You might see the most popular ones kind of filter through to Instagram, but usually like 2 weeks later and they're kind of already gone out of fashion, to be honest, on TikTok. So if you are looking to create that kind of more trendy content or stay on top of those trends, TikTok is probably the platform to keep an eye on those. As I said, TikToks are less polished and they're looser. They're just a little bit more fun and informal, whereas Instagram Reels, now not always, but can have just that little bit higher production value with, you know, all the bells and whistles from like filters, camera effects, music, etc. So now, how often should you post? Now, I do want to caveat this by saying that these are the guidelines that these platforms put out there. And obviously, these platforms want you to be posting quite a bit so that there is content on these platforms and people will keep coming on these platforms. So make of this what you will, but these are the industry guidelines for each of the platforms. So for TikTok, it says to aim for at least once a day. The TikTok algorithm prioritizes content that's watched from start to finish. So what this means is TikTok will deem your content like valuable per se if a viewer is watching it from start to finish, so consuming the whole thing. Then TikTok will say, this is good quality content, this is valuable, you know, we will prioritize this. So again, there's a higher likelihood of a traveler or a consumer watching your full video if it's shorter. It's just like less of a time commitment. So that's worth keeping in mind for TikTok. Then with Instagram Reels, most brands are posting an average of a little bit more than once per day, which, as I said, these are guidelines. But a key difference here is that the Instagram algorithm actually prioritizes recency. So it prioritizes content that has been posted most recently. So as opposed to content that's watched from start to finish, it's newer content, I guess, that it is pushing to the top of people's feeds. So what this means is for Instagram, it is a little bit more important that you are posting when your audience is online, so that, you know, your content is fresh, is new, and it has a higher chance of getting to the top of those feeds. Okay then, so YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts is not to be ignored. It is a new, well, relatively new, short-form video channel. I think it only started in 2020, so it's still pretty fresh, and we're still learning a little bit about it. So Shorts can be between 15 to 60 seconds long, and YouTube Shorts has now surpassed 50 billion daily views globally. So this is on par and set to exceed TikTok and Instagram. So YouTube it's actually the second most visited website globally. They like to call themselves the second biggest search engine after Google, because a lot of the time people are going on to kind of search useful information. But you know, folks who tend to go on Instagram are a very loyal and engaged audience. And people are wanting to engage with, you know, traditionally, obviously, YouTube was for longer form content, but now folks are wanting that shorter form content as well. So having YouTube Shorts on YouTube just makes a lot of sense. So if you're looking to get started with YouTube Shorts, it really is quite easy. Learning is a top reason why people turn to YouTube. So as I said, you know, how-tos or explainer videos or vlogs or that kind of thing works well. So I was, the CrowdRiff team met with YouTube recently, and they kind of gave these two examples of, you know, take your audience behind the scenes of their favorite attractions perhaps, or a day in the life of a local small business owner. So they're just two suggestions that they gave us. But one thing I would say is experiment with YouTube Shorts. If you're creating content for TikTok and Instagram Reels anyway, if you've kind of put in that work, you know, why not just put it on YouTube Shorts, see how it performs? You never know. Everybody is learning. Everybody, you know, it's totally fine to make mistakes with these kind of things. So just see what works, because there is no one size fits all. You really just have to kind of trial and error and experiment. But if you have that content, if you have that video footage anyway, I would strongly suggest you may as well give it a go. So now, this is an extra one that I've thrown in for you all today, and it is short form video on Google. So if you remember way back to the start of my presentation, when I had those two search experiences, we had TikTok on the left and we had the Google desktop version on the right. So that Google desktop version with all of the text and all of those blue links, that still is the experience that users are getting when searching on desktop, so when searching on their computers or laptops. However, Google started to realize that they were now competing against the likes of Instagram and TikTok for people searching for information. But they also realized that usually when people are consuming TikToks or Instagram Reels, that they're doing so on their mobile devices. So Google wanted to make their mobile search experience more visual and more engaging. So one way that they are doing this is with Google Web Stories. So Google Web Stories is a form of short-form video. They look like an Instagram story in the fact that you open up a web story and you tap through the panels of the story to consume the content. It can be a combination of images and videos, and it can link people to your website. So each web story is like its own web page, and it has a URL, and these web stories are searchable and discoverable on Google. So if this content has been created for your destination, there's a chance that it can surface in this new section on Google search called Visual Stories. So there's no guarantees with Google. They'll never give us the secret sauce to their algorithm. But if this content is there, there's a chance that it can be highlighted. Web stories can also show up as blue links, those kind of traditional ways, but they are a little bit more engaging because they can have this thumbnail beside them also. And then last but not least, web stories can also show up in Google Discover. So if you are using the Google app on your phone, so not searching through like Safari, if you're actually using the Google app, when you open up that app, there is a news feed there of content. That content is personalized to you based on your online behavior. So based on what you're searching, websites you're visiting, that kind of thing. So it's very personalized to you. So web story content about your destination, if you're creating them, there's a chance that it can show up in Google Discover also. Now, we meet with the Google Travel team quite a bit. So in addition to web stories, they gave us these recent updates on the differences, or the changes rather, that they're making to mobile search to make it easier for travelers. So in addition to web stories, Google is now surfacing short-form video on Google for mobile search, which is amazing. So we've been waiting for this for quite a while. So what this means is there's a new section called short videos, and basically it's now pulling in Instagram Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts. So this content that you're creating is no longer only confined or only living within those platforms. It can show up on Google now as well. Now, when you click into those links, it will bring you to those apps, but being able to discover them is just another way to get this content that you're working so hard to create, to get it discovered and get it in front of travelers. So it's just another reason that, if you're thinking about creating Instagram Reels or TikToks, it's just another reason to do so. So this is super exciting. Then on the right, city search is now becoming more visual. So when you search for particular cities on Google, this is the experience that you're met with. So the one on the left-hand side of the blue section of the screen is the old experience. So you can see that it's pretty boring. There's not much happening. Again, a lot of text, but Google is changing this so that it looks more so like the experience on the right. So it might be interesting to kind of Google your city and see if Google has made these changes for your destination yet. But as you can see, it's just much more visual. So you have the images that kind of cycle through at the top. You're actually even seeing them pull in a TikTok into this first section of search. It gives you a more interactive map. I think I was in Toronto when I made this slide, so apparently I was a 7-hour flight from this destination. So it obviously uses your location data, which it's kind of creepy, but it's kind of useful. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's just a much more engaging and visual experience. So yeah, I would encourage you to see if Google has made this change. Google is always changing. That's one thing that's for sure, but they really are aiming to kind of organize information in a way that is more useful for travelers. So it is kind of always good just to kind of keep an eye and see what changes they've made for your particular destination, because they tend to roll out changes with test markets. So we don't know why they pick particular markets, but they tend to just pick particular geographies or particular cities to test things on. So it is always useful to kind of keep up and see what's happening with your destination. Okay, so now, repurposing content. We went through the guidelines of how often you should be posting content, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot, and as a marketer, I would even find that quite overwhelming. So if there is a way to kind of repurpose content or take the work that you're doing and use it across multiple platforms, I would definitely, absolutely advise you to do that. So, don't feel bad or don't think you're not doing a good job, because it's just a smarter way of working. However, there are some things to keep in mind. So repurposing content, as I said, good news, you can do it, it's totally fine. But one thing I would say is just keep in mind the audience that you're looking to target on each platform and tailor the content to that audience. You want to make it feel like that, native to that platform, I guess. So who is the, just have a think and see, who is the audience that you're trying to target, what demographic are they, and then understand what platform they hang out on, or what platform they consume content on. So for example, let's say you wanted to target older millennials, and you found out that they are, or you looked at your Google Analytics and you found out that that demographic is more active on your on your Instagram channel than they are on your TikTok, perhaps. Millennials might tend to have more disposable income or a higher budget than Gen Zs, so you might want to create content on your more luxury experiences or your more high-end experiences for your Instagram rather than on your TikTok, for example. So, just kind of look into the data, see where your audience are, and see kind of what content they want to interact with and tailor your content to suit that. And then also do market research as well. So don't be afraid to kind of, see what other destinations, in your locale or what other destinations kind of nationwide are doing and how they are tailoring content by different platforms. So I have an example of this from Visit Phoenix, so shout out Rachel. I'm hoping that this will work. We're just gonna go, yes, okay. So this is an example from Visit Phoenix, who took the exact same raw materials, I guess. So the exact same video footage, but tailored it to Instagram and to TikTok. So the first experience is on TikTok, or on Instagram, sorry. And then we move over to the exact same video, but this time on their TikTok channel.
Have you checked out the newly reopened Choice Trail at Camelback Mountain? It's a 2.6-mile hike with rewarding views of Phoenix at the summit.
Okay, cool. So you'll see that the changes, oops. Okay, perfect. You'll see that the changes were subtle, but they do make a difference. So in the Instagram version, we had, the transitions were a lot slower, the music to match that kind of more chilled out, laid back music. Whereas when they had it in their TikTok, the transitions were quicker because the music was a little bit more, fun and lively. And they also added subtitles. And they also used that trend on TikTok with that kind of robot lady voice talking over it. So that's a trend that's really popular on TikTok. So they just adapted that same piece of video content, but just made it feel quite different depending on the platform that they're posting on. So I just thought that that was a really nice example. So good job, Rachel and the team. So now, repurposing content. So audio or music is really important when you are looking at short form video, and it can be really tricky, to be honest, if you have a corporate or a business account set up to find licensed music. Now, both Instagram and TikTok recently have done quite a better job at creating libraries of licensed or royalty-free music for you to use, but I would just say keep an eye on that, and I would always advise that you select music within the platform that you're posting to. So one thing to keep in mind is that if you create a reel, so if you create a reel within Instagram and you export it to your camera roll, you lose the sound. So you will only get the visuals, you will not get the sound. Whereas if you create a TikTok within TikTok, you export it to your camera roll, the sound will come with it. So I would advise, if you are looking to start on one platform over another, I would advise starting in Instagram and creating it so that you lose the sound, because you don't want the sound to come with it, because you want to find sound within TikTok if you're posting it to TikTok. So it's easier to start off as a reel. Next, watermarks. So this is a pet peeve of mine. I understand why it happens, and I understand where it might come from, but if you are repurposing a TikTok on Instagram Reels, please make sure to remove the TikTok watermark. not just from like an aesthetic perspective, but the Instagram Reels algorithm actually actively searches for that TikTok watermark, and it will like, push down your content because it doesn't want to advertise TikTok on its own platform, right? So there are a few tools that you can use. I think I've mentioned, Snaptic, so SNAPTIC is a really handy tool that will remove the watermark from TikToks if you're creating them in TikTok first, essentially. And then pre-create your content. So this is a tip that I would give. If you're looking to create content and use it across multiple platforms, it can be useful to, start that content off in a different software, so in like an independent third-party software, so the likes of CapCut, where you can template out your content, you can storyboard it, you can kind of trim your content, that kind of thing. You can use CapCut. CapCut's a really good one, and it has lots of templates. At CrowdRiff as well, we also have a video editing software, which can do this for you too. But as a general rule of thumb, it is easier to start with a reel and use that on TikTok than the other way around. Because if you start with a reel, you won't have the watermark and you won't have the audio. So there's just less work for you to do when you re-upload that to TikTok, I guess. Okay, so best practices for creating short-form video in general. So number one here, I would say, is just to be consistent. So not only from like an algorithm perspective, but if you are consistent and posting quite frequently, you'll very quickly learn what content works for you and what content doesn't. So as I said, we're all out here trying to do our best. We're all just learning, and that's totally fine. But you do need to get out there and kind of get your hands dirty and just learn from experience, I guess. Staying on top of trends is useful. So if you're looking to, piggyback on trends or help your content, go a little bit viral, trends can be a really fun way to do this. So I can see the ladies from Branson in the audience right there. Hello. Their TikTok is awesome. If anybody gets a chance, I would definitely check it out. You don't have to
but
jump
they do a
on
really
every
good job
trend.
of like seeing
Not
what
every trend is
trends
for
work
you,
them.
and that's totally fine.
But
But if you do see a trend that you like, I think the Corn Kid one from Branson was my personal favorite. It's a really fun way to, create content that is, really top of mind, very of the moment, and can kind of help that content increase the chances of it going maybe a little bit viral, who knows. But on that point, I would advise to always be mindful of the subject matter that you are using in your content. So it's not guaranteed, but if your content goes viral, you need to be prepared for potential negative consequences that could happen from that. So let's say you create a TikTok about a park in your area that is beautiful to watch the sunrise. Next thing, that TikTok goes viral and you're delighted with yourself. You think this is great. But then at that weekend, hundreds of people flock to this park to watch the sunrise because they saw your beautiful TikTok. And that park doesn't have the infrastructure maybe to accommodate this increased traffic. So that can lead to a negative experience for not only travelers but also locals. So just keep in mind, it's not guaranteed, obviously we all want to go viral, but just keep in mind of some of the kind of consequences that can come off the back of that as well. This is one that I have said probably 10 times already, but I would advise to keep it short. Short-form videos are short for a reason, but also the fact that short videos, they just take less time to create. They're less effort, so I would just say kind of keeping them short. And then obviously if you're posting on TikTok, there's a higher likelihood of people watching it from start to finish, as we said, if they're shorter. So the algorithm obviously likes that. And then last but not least, micro storytelling. So with short-form video, there's no time to waste, I guess. You really do only have a few seconds to communicate the point or get the message across that you want to get across. So think about a really catchy hook, or, basically think about what you want to say and make sure you say it in the very first few seconds so that people will kind of be drawn in and want to keep watching to the end. So I apologize for this slide because it is an absolute assault on your eyes, but feel free to take a picture of this slide because it is a really good summary, I guess, of some tips and tricks for the different platforms and how they compare. So a lot of it is what we covered already, but kind of what is new here is I've added the days to post on each of these channels. So for example, on TikTok, it says that Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays have the highest engagement. It differs per platform, sorry. So this is just like a quick synopsis, and if anybody's interested, I can absolutely make these slides with this content available to you afterwards as well. But one thing I did want to cover is that I hope, one thing has been made clear by this is that to win at Instagram Reels, TikToks, and YouTube Shorts, DMOs need a lot of short-form video content. If you're to be posting anywhere close to the frequency that these platforms are saying you should, it's a lot of short-form video. But, we've heard from DMOs that short-form video it not only takes a lot of time, but it takes a lot of creative energy. I'm sure we would all love to be out and about in our destinations, filming day in, day out, but it's just not realistic. So this is a problem that we at CrowdRiff had been hearing and wanted to come up with a solution to help with that. So CrowdRiff Creators, it delivers short-form video at scale. Basically, we work with local content creators in your area to get you that short-form video content to post on your social media channels. So as I said, we find local creators. So we handle everything from kind of finding those creators, onboarding them, training them on your brand guidelines, everything from contracts, insurance, all of that super boring stuff so you don't have to. And in return, you get that short form video content, high quality, authentic, all of that good stuff. And this is just a snapshot of some of the content creators that we are working with nationwide. Visit California was one of the first destinations that we started working with for this particular solution. Visit California are obviously a huge destination, but we've worked with DMOs of all shapes and sizes kind of since. But one of the struggles, I guess, that Visit California were having is that they obviously have a lot of ground to cover. And, every destination has a lot of ground to cover. But we worked with them to find over 20 content creators to cover 40 regions in their destination. So not only now do they have short form video content for, their bigger cities and kind of well-known destinations, but we're helping to get them kind of more coverage across the entire state. And the content that we're delivering to Visit California is being used and it's getting really good results. So on their TikTok, we've helped them create over 50 TikToks and they have achieved 1.5 million views from TikToks created using our content and over 90,000 likes. Then when you look at Instagram Reels, it's actually over 8 million plus views, which is crazy, and 350 likes. So this is just another example of some of the CrowdRiff creators' content in action or out there in the wild. So you'll see we have a TikTok example here from Louisiana Travel, an Instagram Reel from Visit Galena, which is a smaller DMO located in Illinois, and then another example again from Visit California on their YouTube Shorts. And then a last example here is from Travel Oregon. So this example is only from a couple of weeks ago, but we recently sent them their kind of first batch, I guess, of short form video content, and they instantly wanted to convert it or put it into Instagram Reels. And I just loved this comment here from Bethany. She said, "You should make more of these types of videos." So I thought that was quite good. And then, as I said, we are working with destinations of all shapes and sizes nationwide across the US and Canada. So if short form video is something that you have some gaps in or you have been struggling with, I'm happy to talk to you. I have my colleague with me today as well, Gabriel. So if anybody is, interested or curious, please come find us. We're always more than happy to chat. Okay, we've made it to the end. You'll be happy to know. To recap really quickly, so to win over modern travelers, destinations need to be creating short-form video content. There really is no avoiding it. It is a format that is here to stay. So I would advise that everybody, adopt and start learning and getting better because, it really is just going to be the way that we consume information for the foreseeable. Huge generalization, but if I was to summarize, I would say TikTok is less filtered. Instagram Reels can be more stylized. YouTube Shorts, informational. Repurposing content is okay once you know your audience. And CrowdRiff creators can help you fill your short form video gaps. So if you want to see more examples of the content that we are delivering to destinations today, feel free to scan this QR code. It'll just bring you to a landing page that we've created, which hosts loads of different examples of the videos that creators all across the country are creating. But with that, I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for your attention and for having me today. And I'm going to hand it back over, I believe.
come on up. We'd love for you to come up and go ahead and ask us any questions. We really are here to be kind of our wealth of knowledge. I really wanted it to spread out as far as who answers, but if you're curious if another destination has another take on any of the questions I asked or whatever it is, but hey, Rachel, nice name. Thanks for spelling it right.
Yeah, exactly. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So I wanted to actually add to what you guys were saying with the potential risk when you're sharing some of these TikTok videos or Instagram videos. So I run a platform called Outcoast. I'm a content creator. I focus on LGBT tourism, specifically in Florida. So as you can imagine, with everything going on in Florida, it's a very divisive place to be. I've done promotion videos for destinations in Florida. Visit Fort Lauderdale is one of the top LGBT inclusive destinations in Florida. And we've done campaigns where the negative comments in the feed is like overwhelming. So just another community, if you're gonna be doing videos like that to reach certain demographics, make sure you're working with experts in that field so you know how to address those situations. But I have a question for you. One of my questions is I've had challenges lately with inviting collaboration. Like it's blocked, it's like they don't have music available or something. So I'm trying to learn more about the challenges with that because obviously we do content, we always want to be inviting our collaborators so it goes further for them. Any info or feedback on that?
So thank you for that question. So just to clarify, do you mean like the collaboration feature on Instagram? Yeah, so I think
I changed the format of the type of page at some point, and now it's like certain pages I cannot invite the collaborator, especially if it's a lot of the DMOs are like blocked right now for some reason.
Yeah. Yes, so we've had that problem before, and it depends on the music that they're using through the platform. I haven't quite figured it out, to be completely honest. I usually ask the influencer to use something that isn't like, that both business and personal music can be on.
Is it noted somewhere, like where?
I think through like the Instagram creator portal somehow you can see that. I know that we did have a content creator say that she has a separate app that she uses for different music. So when bringing in like their music to TikTok as well, rather than using their original sound, I try to use something different.
Okay. I'll play with a little bit more and do a little more digging. But
yeah, if I get any more
information. The biggest challenge, so I'd love any information on how to prevent being blocked from sharing collaboration.
Yeah, we never got blocked for it, but they couldn't post it.
Not blocked, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't post it, and they're like, wait, I can't post it. Why can't I do this? Okay. So.
Well, and I'd say too, it's maybe like those sounds that are not as established are the ones that are probably not being able to get refocused on. So it's going to be those ones that are maybe already surpassed that 50,000 or 100,000 sound views, et cetera. Like they've already had that many videos made. So it's probably just having them say, hey, like, please be considerate. We're a business account. Could we look at sounds that are a little bit more established versus they might be wanting to hop on a music trend. So like when you're scrolling through Instagram, if you haven't noticed, in the bottom left of any reels, there's either a music note or there is an arrow. So the arrow means it's an up-and-coming sound versus the music note means it's just a sound that exists and it's either established or it's just not trending. But the arrow means it's a trending sound, it's up-and-coming, whatever it is. So just tell them to, hey, like, we know you want to also have this video do good, but keep in mind, like, we're a business account. It'd be great if you selected a sound that is a little bit more established just for the sanctity of
and it's smart, aren't because we're the one creating the content.
Okay.
And so we create the content. We want to invite, like, our DMO partner so we can push it a little further or some other. So it's not always like when you go and you pick your collaborator, a lot of times it's like grayed out, so we can't.
Yep, so that's what we just had a problem with.
Yeah.
I would also suggest kind of reaching out and telling them which sound you're going to use, even screenshotting it and showing them, so then they can look it up on their account and see whether they can like use it or share it in general.
That's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys so much.
Of course, of course. Feel free to come on up. I see people raising hands, but we can't see. Well, I'm just letting you know. There's lights. Hey, Rachel. Before you sit. Rachel, someone's talking to you. All right, come on up.
Hi, EJ with the Atlanta CVB. I'm the social media manager, and I had a few questions related to the algorithm. I also wanted to make a comment that from the insights that you all have shared, we've implemented a lot of them as well and seen the results. I think authenticity is huge. The piece with the pies is something that we try to do, connecting with local chefs and really telling that deeper story. I would also add that it really depends on where you are with your particular team, how you should go about scaling your social media. So I was the first social media manager at the Atlanta CVB. And at first, we focused on just getting a sustainable cadence and also making sure the quality was there. Now we have sort of graduated to the stage of understanding more of the minutia and the science behind how the algorithms work, how the platforms vary. Typically, what I find is when doing reporting, that's when I'll notice maybe there's something changing within the platform on the algorithm side. Say it's a piece of content that always performs well for us, we've nailed it down, it's in our wheelhouse, but the engagement has changed or the numbers have changed. And that sort of bottom-up reasoning oftentimes gets us behind the curve. So my question is, how do you anticipate algorithm changes or recognize them sooner in the process? What are your methods for observation in that area?
I'll just quickly answer. For me, it's silly to say, but I think it's really being active on the platforms. It's also how you quickly find trends. So Alice mentioned having a personal account really helps. Not just surfing through your business account and being as the business, because you're going to get served a different amount of content than rather if you were the end user. So I get served a lot of puppy videos. And a lot of food. So that's just a personal thing. But I think surfing through each of those networks, especially the ones you're just really trying to establish your brand and your persona on, just being able to surface through them, through your own channels, because then you can really establish those finds.
I would also add, in addition to that, I follow a lot of social media people, gurus on Twitter, and sometimes it's a lot of nah, but then a lot of times there are good nuggets that they share that, I'm able to kind of stay on top of those algorithm changes because they're experiencing them maybe before me, or that's all they focus on is that.
And then to add to that as well, you can also, sometimes it helps to kind of follow hashtags as well, hashtags that are relevant to your destination, but just kind of tourism and destination marketing in general as well. I mean, I would love to say it is easy to predict algorithms and to predict the kind of next trend. It's not, unfortunately. You just need to be present, you need to be consistent, but then also, have the ability, but also the confidence to act quickly on these as well. So, especially kind of TikTok, it is less polished. It doesn't need that high production value. So you can really just kind of have fun with it and, try and jump on things as soon as they crop up, if it's something that you want to do and if it makes sense for you and your brand.
Awesome.
On top of that, I would follow other destinations because you can always get ideas from all of them. That helps me just by scrolling through, seeing what everybody else is doing. Like Alice said, you can never predict the algorithm. It's really hard. But we used to focus on trends at the very beginning, and I think I just got too focused with them, and I realized that it was more about demonstrating our destination and what makes us authentic and why people would want to visit.
I also wanted to add something. Aside from the algorithm, another way that you can, and this has worked for us, something that is extremely important is the time that you post that video to get more exposure, aside from the algorithm. So something that we've done is, for example, on Instagram, we've been for a longer time. So every single month, we track the top performers and what days and what time they were posted. And we're doing the same with TikTok. And for example, if you look it up, what are the best days to post on whatever, sometimes that information doesn't necessarily apply to you. So I would tell you to track those top performers and the times for a period of maybe 3 months, for example, and then you can actually point out what are the best times for you to post, because they're probably completely different from what what works for other accounts. So that is something that we've been using, and that's been getting our content in the eyes of many much followers, because we are using those exact times and dates to post.
EJ, you said you had more questions. Load us up. You got 5 minutes.
Yeah, the only other one that I had was something that I've noticed, because I monitor all of our platforms. LinkedIn was the first one where I started to see that not all engagement was necessarily created equal, in the sense that you could get a lot of likes, but the ones that had a lot of comments had a lot more impressions. I was wondering if anyone saw that trend maybe happening where if you optimize for comments, the algorithm prefers that kind of content.
100%. I would absolutely agree with that. You have to keep in mind, anytime someone engages, of course, on LinkedIn, like, hello, LinkedIn's nosy, first of all. Like, they tell you when you look at somebody's profile, unless you're upgraded, rude. But it's one of those things when you're engaging with it, like, I quickly see our impressions, like, they'll jump from, like, 19 to all of a sudden, like, 300, and it's because someone else engaged with it, and it's now showing in their followers' feed that so-and-so liked this, or so-and-so commented on this. So absolutely, I would encourage comments galore, like maybe destination-wise, it can be, hey, share your favorite memory of the last time you were in, visit Lake Charles, if you were in wherever, or if you're a hotel posting, like, when was the last time you visited us? What was your favorite memory? Like, any things like that. I think memory kind of recall really helps with those. Yeah. I know, Catherine J., you post on LinkedIn. Any kind of echoing feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love to encourage our staff members to post their own experiences, and then I'm sharing them their own posts, but also creating Visit Lake Charles's own narrative of that experience too.
Great.
Thank you, EJ. Appreciate it. Mic's open. Run on up here. Hello.
Hi. My name is Taylor. I'm with the State of New Mexico Tourism Department. I had a question for the CrowdRiff rep. We have one person that does our social, and we're the 5th largest state, so getting that authentic content is a little hard. And I was really interested in the CrowdRiff content creators. How would we get started or get more information about getting started? I think that's a tool that would be really useful for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually the guy sitting behind you right now is my colleague Gabe, so he is more than happy to kind of give you any information. That kind of goes for anybody in the room today as well. Like the best way to do it, I guess, is just come up to myself or Gabe and we can kind of chat to you a little bit more about how that would look. We can even talk to you a little bit about, if you're interested in how we go about finding creators. I mean, one thing that I didn't mention earlier is we don't typically reach out to traditional influencers, I guess. We are not concerned with the following of the people who are creating the content. It's more so passionate local creators who create high quality, authentic content. So we can give you a little bit more information about that, or even just what the process looks like, how the assets are delivered to you, all of that good stuff. So yeah, we're more than happy to talk to you about that.
Perfect. We'll connect. Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor. Hi there.
I'm Lisa. I'm with Visit Denver. I'm the social media manager there.
Okay.
So right now, and this is only for internal video content, my team is working on gathering the content to ensure that is authentic and aligns with their brand pillars, website content, upcoming events. So we do have our team going out every week to capture content. Do you guys have like a plan for your team to capture this content that, I guess, isn't so pressured to get relevant and authentic content that's up to date, or like an efficient content calendar to follow?
Yes. Short answer, yes. I think all of us use a content calendar of some sort. We use Sprout Social. They have like a calendar feature, so we do a lot of planning there. And then we color code it as well. Like we go the extra steps, so we know what's really going to be like internal messaging versus external, like leisure travel, meetings, conventions. So that messaging is kind of like all organized and planning. We go anywhere between 2 weeks to 2 months in advance of planning, depending on what we need to do, keeping in mind like national days or months, of course. But yeah, I mean, there's a plethora of planning, and it's more of just setting yourself up for success and not taking on so much that you surpass your bandwidth. I think that's going to be my biggest thing.
I guess for our example too, we're just starting this process and really starting the learning, the testing of like what type of content resonates with our audience on each platform. So we're really like ramping up. So for our plan right now, we're starting off with 2 destinations, 2 edited videos per week, which can be a lot. And we're using that content to gather for our library to, you know, further to make more videos in the future. Do you guys think it's smart to ramp up now and then like, I guess, savor that content later to, I guess, figure out what's actually working for your audience on each specific platform?
Absolutely. We did a video shoot, it was last summer, that it was 4 days long, and they were like my most intense days ever. I started at 4 a.m. on the top of Piestewa Peak and didn't get home that night until about 11 o'clock, and I went everywhere. Greater Phoenix area is massive. Phoenix alone, Phoenix proper, is 538 square miles, and we cover into Mesa, Scottsdale, Tempe. So our footprint's massive. So definitely we caught so much content, not only horizontal commercial grade stuff that is running in our ads, but behind the scenes, like we're right behind the camera guy, like, come on, let me get the shot. So I absolutely recommend it. And of course, if you're like, oh, I'm just going out with it's just me and my phone and a tripod, or me and my phone and a gimbal, whatever it is, I highly recommend just shooting horizontal and vertical so that you're set up for success whatever platform you're shooting on. I know that short form tends to be, of course, more vertical, but keep in mind, like, if you are deciding to run a YouTube ad utilizing YouTube videos, those ads are like 15 to 30 seconds, and those are horizontal because that's what's going to be fitting into those in between the 12-minute videos of like, how do we do our hair? Or how do we, fix our sink? I'm watching those ads. I'm getting hit with them. Visit Albuquerque. I actually just got targeted with an ad there. So I absolutely think it's possible to just collect all the content and use it when you're ready. If you have the bandwidth to do it in a short period of time, hit multiple places, have a focus even, if you're like all food and beverage, all of our hotels, etc. So it's going to be up to you and your planning. I'm super type A. I don't know if that comes off across that I am, but
a lot of us are.
Yeah, I think we are. I think we're in this industry for a reason. So, but I think it's just one of those things. It's just like planning and not overwhelming yourself or your staff.
Yeah. Any other recommendations that people have just started in like creating a consistent process?
Yeah, I would say that look at it as a holistic approach. Whatever you will be promoting for the next 3 months on your website, on digital marketing campaigns, in your e-newsletter, making sure that you have a social media short form video component to go along with that. First and foremost, like if you're just starting out, what are some short form video that can complement the rest of the next like maybe 3 months or seasonality. In addition, what are your buckets of content? Your top 5, places to go. So kind of looking more evergreen and those basic videos that will just engage someone or someone who is just looking initially to plan their trip. So kind of looking at your website and seeing what pages are top visited and making videos or collecting videos that align with that.
Okay, I don't want to take up too much time. Just like, does anyone have like a personal experience that can share like what they dealt with their team to like ramp up on capturing this content? Because that's my concern is, am I capturing a little too much right now? Am I focused on that, or should I be focused on what the audience really wants, and I guess like repurposing that content instead of capturing so much at the same time?
Yeah, good. No, you go.
If you're beginning right now, there you go. if you're just beginning, yes. Please capture as much content as possible. That doesn't mean that you're going to publish it, but have that in storage. For example, we started on Instagram back in November, a consistent strategy of posting 3 Instagrams every week, and then we started on TikTok. So we had all that storage content with evergreen topics so that we could post that on and repurpose it, to Charlotte's point, on TikTok later. So capture as much as you can and then see what ways you can repurpose it. In Discover Puerto Rico, something that we do is we create calendars 1 month in advance. So we have seen that 3 videos on TikTok and on Instagram is a sustainable cadence or frequency for us. So we create a list of 12 videos 1 month in advance, covering the upcoming topics. For example, if there's a national holiday, or if there is a Earth Month or Wellness Month, well, from those 12 videos, we're going to dedicate at least 3 to that topic, and then the rest we're going to divide it into our other content buckets. And then always make sure to include or present those videos in different formats. some are POVs, some are listicles, some are fast sequence, so that they're all not all the same, and you can show variety to your audience.
Thank you, that helps. Thank you so much.
Don't put so much pressure on yourself either, so you don't have to worry about going on the weekends to get it yourself. Value those weekends for your personal time and kind of make it work. I always think about that too. I'm not always like, I take photos and videos when I go out to eat, of course, but I don't have to do it nonstop. So do it based on what your schedule works. We take videos maybe like weekly. Like I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna leave and go get videos. So that's usually how it works for me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you again to our panelists. Thank you, Alice, for presenting and CrowdRiff for sponsoring.